Namaskar and welcome to this Sathology show. We have very special guest. He has come on this show many times. He's the author of the book The Hindu Terror, and where he identified the sources of the terror which he saw during his work with the internal ministry in India. And after that, now he's involved in educating youth, uh, from where his strength comes from, his clarity of thought, his clarity of purpose. All these things come from a very strong spiritual background. And so without delay, I'd like to welcome back Sri RVS Mani. And he's a wonderful speaker, orator, and a television personality. So, Namaskar, Maniji. Welcome.
Namaskar.
So you have spoken a lot on multiple topics. Like one of your famous series has been Rudra Nyasam, and which is being rerun again and again. So today I wanted to ask you some specific questions which come upon many people's mind. Buddhi Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Karma Yoga. Would you like to tell us more about these three different terms? Like what is Buddhi Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, and Karma Yoga? What is the difference between the three?
Let me come to this. Basically, the yoga darshana, or yoga school of philosophy is one of the 6 philosophies of the of the Sanatana Dharma. Philosophy, or I would say to validity, Sanatana is all truth. So that is the reason I am very happy that instead of mythology, because there is no mytha, it is all Satya. So that is the reason you started the channel in Satyology, and this Satya is how it is getting validated, experienced internally. That is the purpose for which all the 6 philosophies or darshanas. Darshana is viewpoint. Darshana, views, and experiencing it. That type of way. These are all the Marga Darshana for experiencing the virtues of the Sanatana. The virtues of Sanatana you can realize and experience through 6 Maharishis have written in 6 different ways. And briefly I will start with that. Before that I come to the yoga. Yoga Darshana is the 4th one, that is Rishi Patanjali had written it. First one was the Sankhya Darshana, or Sankhya school of philosophy by Kapila, a beautiful treatise where you can experience holistically through questioning, through objectivity. It defines the present context or present relatable context. It is known as the objectivity and some sort of a anthropologists will call it participant observation, or I would call it participant experiencing, where you are a participant and also you are detaching yourself from the participation and evaluating your own self-assessment. It's some sort of that type of a participant observation is this Sankhya, and it is called, Sankhya is the way where Samikaran, the holistic experiences of the holistic realization of the nature of Sanatana and its elements, and aligning yourself with your life and your purposes with that is suggested. The way it can be done is suggested. So that is what is Samikara, Samakya, Sankhya, Darshana. Next is the Nyaya Darshana. Nyaya Darshana is what is about beautifully written Vidhi, Nidhi, and all those things. What should be the justice system? What should be the natural process of justice? What should be the natural process of policy? Nidhi, Vidhi, and all that, and also Nyaya. how the natural deliverances of bad karma giving bad effect and good karma, these are all naturally in the Sanatana process. If you don't, physically, when I am talking about the Harinama Sankirtana, if you are always using negative thoughts, if you are always using negative, uttering negative words, it won't give you a positive result either in the short term or in the long term. So this I'm using this only to establish what is there in the Nyaya Darshana, what should be the Nidhi, Vidhi and Nyaya. Thereafter, the Vaisheshika Darshana is there, Vishesh. Vaisheshika, it comes out of the term Vishesh. The closest I can relate is one Marriott, Maclean Marriott, a social thinker has said it about the universalization, certain virtues which are got visualization gets parochialized, and where the parochialization, a small virtue of Sanatana being experienced in some corner, gets universalized. This is the way you can, it is also a Margadarshana, Vaisheshika. Fourth is what we are going to talk about in detail, is about the Yoga Darshana. Fifth is the Uttar Mimamsha, which is sort of a pre-event deliberation. Mimamsa means debate, deliberation in a larger sense. Or some people call it the Muhurta, or some people call it the astrology and all that. Yeah, and the post is the Vedangas or whatever it is, the summing up of evaluation, summing up of all the crux of Sanatana after having experienced it. That is Uttara Mimamsa. Urva is prior, Uttara is after. Largely I have set the agenda. Now I come to the Yoga. Yoga means force. Simple. In simplest terms, the sum total of energy going around us, energy is not created nor destroyed. We all know this basic concept of physics. Is it not?
That's right.
So I also already told you about how the Shiva Shakya paradigm works. So it is only, see, even in the state of rest, we are also in a state, we are also empowered. Even a child is empowered, even the Vriddha man is empowered. Some energy is already floating around it. The first part of the yoga is the Hatha Yoga. Because what is conscious is first the body, Deha. So everything, Deha consists is an aggregation of, it's basically what is the Deha? Deha is simple mass, it is a body matter, body mass, it's a matter. So first, basic, we start with aligning our own energy and controlling our indriyas as per the alignment with the natural forces, even the gravitational force. If certain yoga postures, if you see, they challenge the gravitational force also. Is it not? Because it has to align itself with the, we have to have full control. It should be as naturally closer to the Sanatana concept as it should be. That type of a control is basically required. First, the Bhujangasana or the Halasana or even the Viparita Karani, all those things are basically taught to get your indriyas under control of, and control not only your own control, but also in connection, in alignment with the forces of the nature. Is it not?
That's right.
You are a practitioner of yoga, there are many practitioners of yoga, they know it. I am going on a larger picture. After the Hatha Yoga's first part comes the Pranayama. Prana is the life contained in the body. If the life is removed, there is no prana, it is simply a simple matter, physical matter, nothing else is left. So prana. That is right?
Yes.
So pranayama, that is how it comes. Pranayama is something which they teach you how to control your breath. Yogayama, Indriyama, Pranayama. Indriya is all matter contained. Prana is the life which is sustaining, which is the life, which is prana means life. The entire body without prana is a simple matter. It has got no relevance. and by chemical processes or metabolic process or whatever process, it starts decaying. So that is the reason the body starts thinking, because the prana is the Shiva of the life. It ensures ayuhu, shatayu praptya, shatamanam bhavatu shatat ayushte, ayushya indriyo bhavatu, it says. So Indra, it is also a form of a Shankara. This prana, if you are able to go full control over it, appropriately do it with the natural processes, the Sanatana element, which are eternal process which is happening, that alignment has to be reached. So you reach a level of, you can see many people can hold what is prana is to leave out the breath also. After that also, most of the Uddiyana or even Kapalavasi, there are many types of pranayama which gives you several types of control, like Nadi Shodhan pranayama. Nadi Shodhan pranayama is basically from the elephant, the cow, Pashupatinatha. Cows, you face yourself like a cow's mouth and then you do the prana. Similarly, Anulom Vilom pranayama, you have the Kapalabhati, you have the Uddiyan, and after Uddiyan, the alignment happens in Mauli.
Yes.
True. Prana Indriya alignment is actually shown in the Mauli, where you cleanse all the toxics, not just toxics in the chemical form, several other toxics, and that's how it comes to, now you clear out everything. That is the level when you have complete control your Indriya and Prana. Now go back to my lecture on 33 vertebrae. The 33 vertebrae is also your Indriya. Mentally, the brain is also connected to that. That is the reason 33 vertebrae has an effect on your, when certain sort of forces or certain sort of stress happens there, first it has your effect on your body. So when pranayama is also able to cleanse it, along with that the Harinama Sankirtana is also aligned with that. Any Nama Sankirtana, whether Shivanama Sankirtana, Harinama Sankirtana, or Shankaraya, Shankaroti, Shankara, all those things come align with you. You go into a serenity, and from there, you have to work towards graduating yourself to the next stage. Next stage is Bhakti Yoga. So when you have total control your body and total control on your prana, you are able to concentrate fully on the bhakti or the devotion, commitment, devotion. These qualities start, because your body is now absolutely in your control. Nobody controls it. Your prana, your ability to see. Shikara Devi, I said, but that Shikara also, there because of lack of oxygen and all, that may be issues of prana. There also you are able to control it. So that is they're all natural process. Today, it is not that if a Hindu goes to hilltop, he will have more oxygen, and if a Muslim or if a Christian goes to hilltop, everybody requires the same oxygen to live, and the fluctuation in oxygen availability based on altitude or other factors also, everybody universally suffers irrespective of his belief. Everybody, by doing yoga, can get control over his indriyas, irrespective of his belief. And similarly, by doing pranayama, can control over his breath. And by Mauli leads you to, this is universal. This is nothing to do with any beliefs. And when you reach at that stage, you are in a full control of your body, your indriyas, your pranas. When you set about going towards your next stage, by throwing in that stage of full control of your body and in pranas, you go into the Nama Sankirtana or praying part, and that time your dedication is absolutely 100%. That level of quality, commitment, and devotion comes. Any questions?
No.
So when you build from that, when you build for that, total Bhakti Yoga comes. Bhakti Yoga is total devotion towards the Almighty, towards the Sanatana, towards the eternity, by virtue of which you are every day progressively aligning yourself to the Sanatana Dharma, for the eternal order which is already existent. There is no beginning, there is no end to that.
No, you explained the whole process so simple, made it so simple, and but people will have a lot of difficulty in taking all these steps. So where do they begin? Like a simple steps, how they can begin?
This is a stage from where you are at the end of the Hatha Yoga stage.
Mm.
But at the same time, to ensure total control of your prana and indriyas, Hatha Yoga is kept on practicing by reinforced practice what they have already reached the peak. At that peak level, you increase your course content by introducing, when you are doing the same level of Hatha Yoga, and then you carry it along with the tapas, nama sankirtana, yajna, all these things. Yajna, yajata means puja.
Puja.
The process of doing puja is also Shiva, because yajata is also one of the name of Shiva.
Shiva, correct.
So Shankara, Shiva, or Vishnu, or Harinama Sankirtana, everything you can do right from there. After the apex stage of Hatha Yoga, you keep on doing that by reinforced practice. Whether you do simple Ramanama, whether you do Shiva Panchakshari, whether you escalate yourself to Rudra, you escalate yourself to Sukta, you escalate yourself to higher recitations of Vedas, that is based on your training, power, etc. In this process of Bhakti Yoga, the duties you have to perform, the Purushartha you have to perform, there also you will find unflinching devotion. That is what the Purushartha and all those things, including the duty towards your parents, your deities, because in the Sankhya it also says deification is one of the important things. So by that time you have reached that, you reach that stage of parents, your pitrus. Because I am telling you what has happened is, here I am telling a very important point. If you see, we are a body matter. Your father was also the same body matter. Chemical composition of same is DNA is same. That's what they call it, DNA.
That's right.
Basically, the biochemistry of both this body matter is same.
Yes.
Or lot of commonality. So it is basically flowing from there. Why Pitru should be, why the Karma Yoga also includes the Tarpana towards Pitru is also, that I will do a separate chapter on that, but I am just telling you, the same body matter is being reinforced, strengthened by paying obeisance to that. Because that is also the same Panchabhuta in a particular set of complex combination, which is flowing through. Similarly, from your mother also, certain, whatever is around 40, 60 or whatever is the proportion, like biologists will be able to tell it better. So you have to, by virtue of both the body matter DNAs, you are also ensuring that wherever they are in this universe, get the same level of, when their prana goes out of their body, the indriyas in the form of body matter, even if they have been burnt, they will be existing in some other form, and for that you are giving the obeisance, so that your future, the said DNA combinations, future generation will not just continue to exist in a little bit of same form, but will also be able to achieve, will also do a lot of karma yoga, will also do a lot of sanatani work. So this way it will flow. That is the reason the ancestor prayers are already prescribed in the Sanatana itself, right from the Satya Yuga. So there is no dispute about it. Nowadays we do it in the form of tarpana. See, because how it goes is, first the DNA goes into the Vasu, the first generation. Vasu is Prithvi. Your second generation is Rudra. It is on the space. Third generation is Akasha. It is Aditya. Vasu Rupa, Aditya, Rudra Rupa, Aditya Rupa. Like that it flows. You know that Earth goes up in the form of the fire from the earth, and others go in the form of wind and then become cloud. And that this is the circle which is also put in that a simple way. In a simpler way, I am telling you, but for a separate lecture, I will do much. So this is the Karma Yoga. All this Karma Yoga is also included in the Bhakti Yoga. When you do it over a period of a long time, you will start Purushartha, your procreation, your being wedded to a wife. All these things happen. Even wedding also, there are seven. They call it vows, but I call it sankalpa, because both of them own a particular target for themselves. Where it says, Ekamishe Vishnu Anvedu, we are together one now, because Shiva Shakti are continuing. So, Dvache Urja Vishnu Anvedu, I am the process, you are the Shakti. Husband says, I am the process, you are the power.
Right.
But why? Because of maintenance and sustenance of this world. The universe, the Sanatana. Vishnu is the maintainer, sustainer. So that is the reason, because we have to sustain the Sanatana in the proper format. That is the reason when even in Ramayana, when the king Janak gives the Kanyadan of Sita, he says, Iyam Sita Mama Suta Saha Dharma Sarita. What is the purpose? Not for any physical or other copulation, it is for Dharma Charitava. Dharma has to be sustained. Dharma Charitava, sustained, walked ahead. These are all, I'm just telling. So that Purushartha, it all comes under the Purushartha.
Correct.
Kama, Dharma, Artha. Then ultimately you reach that stage of moksha. At the moksha stage, you join with the Jnana Yoga. Vanaprastha, you join the Jnana Yoga. After having value added to your life, have you added, procreated your future generations, Prajavritti, after having lived in the companionship of your wife, all these things, when you take it forward, you reach the Vanaprastha level, you reach the stage of Jnana Yoga, things will, you will yourself realize how the jnana is flowing into your body because of your repeated Nitya Karma, because of your repeated Hatha Yoga, before you repeated Bhakti Yoga, Nama Sankirtana, all those things. You reach a stage where you are above. You go towards all your desires being fulfilled. You go towards the level of going above Aham and Mama. Moha and Aham. Moha and Aham. I told you the first day, whomsoever raises himself above the Moha and Aham, he is going towards Mangala Milan, that is Moha, Aham. If you can conquer that, Mahadeva stage you come. So that Mahadeva stage is come. Mahadeva is also known as Kara Shankaroti iti. Shankara hai. Kara, that stage of life you can do. You have a Siddhi powers. So it has to be gradually walked through. It is a sort of a scheme of studies for the whole life.
Yes.
The Sanatana prescribes this. Where in certain stage of life, starting, before the Brahmacharya also the Hatha Yoga is started, so that the Indriyas are getting from the age of 3 or maybe 3 or 4. Earlier the Hatha Yoga is to start. Some people used to start it earlier than that. Start the Brahmopadesha at 5 or maybe Brahmopadesha at the age of 7, and the Indriyas are started. So by the time the Gayatri Ucharana is happening, the Sandhya is done, the boy is already in the sort of full control of his bodies, or is in the process of able to control most of his indriyas. So this is how the Bhakti, Jnana, Siddha Yoga are the next parts of hierarchy. This is how we walk through, and how the Indriya and Prana has to be controlled first before you do total devotion to God.
Yes.
During total devotion to God, you are also in a state of total devotion. You are also for everything around you. Every element around you. Rohitaya Stapadave Vrikshanam Pataye Namo Namo. Mantrine Vanijaya Kakshanam Pataye Namo. Aushadinam, Aushadi also is a Shiva. Gode Vajavaskita Aushadinam Pataye Namo Namo. Sagota Idavade Sattvanam Pataye. Like everything in the form of existence, existential things, non-existential things, what we can conceive. I've told what we cannot conceive, but happening, which is beyond our imagination. All these things are manifested as Shiva, Shankara, and that is the level you have to reach. When you go to a Siddha Yoga level, you have curative powers, you have foreseeing powers, not to be misused, not to be encased, because you are already raised above the stage of Aham and Moha. So this is the summing up of the entire, it's a short but summing up of the entire yoga as you wanted me to speak on this.
Yes.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. And if the audience has any questions, we'll work with that. But this show was seen live by many people right now. And so we don't have coming questions are not coming here. But thank you so much for speaking. And this will be posted on a recording. And always a pleasure to learn from you. You have practical experience, you have realization, and you have a deep philosophical, scriptural strength also. So, namaskar and thank you so much.
Ganeshaya Namaha.
Ganeshaya Namaha.